Are you convinced that you should be eating an alkaline diet or drinking alkaline water? Because honestly, I can't blame you. Because the amount of misinformation that's spouted on the internet by influencers trying to sell you something sometimes does get fairly convincing. So let's break down the alkaline diet. The alkaline diet favors food that have a high pH and are not acidic, and tells you that eating acidic foods is going to be detrimental to your health. And the evidence for this is that many diseases thrive in an acidic environment. However, this is not true. In fact, diseases create an acidic environment. So most diseases are caused by mitochondrial dysfunction. This is just a fancy way of saying there's something wrong with the creation of energy inside of cells that are diseased, specifically cancer cells. And when this occurs, these cells have a difficult time turning glucose and fatty acids into energy. So oftentimes they rely on what's called fermentation. This is the process of taking glucose, partially breaking it down to make very small amounts of ATP, and this does not rely on the mitochondria. Therefore, if we have dysfunctional mitochondria, which typically will be producing energy, we can still produce a little bit of energy outside of the mitochondria through fermentation. And as I mentioned, when we do this, there are byproducts that are produced by not fully breaking down glucose. Specifically, a molecule called lactate that associates with acidic molecules and brings them out of the cell. They then dissociate, meaning they just split off inside of the bloodstream. And this will increase the acidity of the blood, technically meaning it decreases the pH. This is referred to in cancer as the Warburg effect. However, this does not mean that a lower blood pH, meaning there's more acidity in the blood, is what is causing the disease. Rather, the disease is lowering our blood pH. So typically our blood pH is maintained between 7.35 and 7.45. And if it is outside of this range, you are very likely to be hospitalized. And the way that the body does this is very interesting. It does this via the kidneys and via your breathing. And this is unconscious and you don't have control over it. For example, if your blood pH somehow lowers during sleep, you will unconsciously change your breathing in order to maintain a stable blood pH. So when your blood pH lowers, there's a feedback mechanism to the brain and to the kidneys. And when the blood pH lowers, meaning it's becoming more acidic, our breath changes to allow us to exhale more carbon dioxide, because retained carbon dioxide will decrease blood pH. And exhaling more carbon dioxide can help raise our blood pH back to normal. Additionally, the kidneys will actually retain what are called bicarbonate ions. And these are simply just molecules that are filtered through the kidneys that will increase the blood pH. They will also excrete more hydrogen ions, which are acidic. So the kidneys will hold on to more alkaline molecules and release more acidic molecules. And the filtered blood that exits the kidneys will have a normal pH again. With that being said, this is our blood pH. So first of all, it's important to know that even a small change in our blood pH that could technically come as a cause of diet is just going to be nullified by these feedback mechanisms. However, our diet probably isn't going to change our blood pH at all. And the reason for this is because we have a very complex digestive tract. And the first organ that any food or drink that we ingest meets is going to be our stomach. And our stomach has a pH between 1.5 and 2.5. Our stomach is the same pH as battery acid. And if you stuck your finger inside of your stomach, it would probably disintegrate. And this very low stomach acid is extremely important for you not getting sick every single time you eat. Every single food that you ingest has bacteria on it that simply just forms as a result of it sitting in the environment. And your stomach acid essentially kills off and cleans all of the food that you eat. Additionally, it's very important for the breakdown of protein into smaller parts so it can be absorbed inside of the small intestine. So this low stomach acid cleans off your foods and helps break it down so you can absorb it better. And drinking alkaline water will actually increase your stomach pH and make it more difficult to kill off all of these pathogens and make it more difficult to digest and break down your food. And this can lead to an inability to break down protein and a greater likelihood that you'll develop conditions that are associated with a bacterial overgrowth. So technically, yes, eating these alkaline foods will transiently change your blood pH. But because of all the regulatory systems I mentioned earlier, this will immediately be adjusted for. Ultimately, your blood pH will not change. The only pH that will change is your intestinal pH, which probably isn't a good thing, and the pH of your urine, because your kidneys will not hold on to as many bicarbonate ions. With that being said, every single aspect of the alkaline diet is not wrong. The diet does suggest eating lots of fruits and vegetables that are high in water and potassium, and high in other critical nutrients, electrolytes, and minerals. And I do agree with this. However, I do not agree with the idea that we should be avoiding meat because it's acidic, because we're missing out on many nutrients that we can only get in meat. and we'd be missing out on some of, if not the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet from high-quality animal products. And the other thing I disagree on is the idea that we should be drinking alkaline water. If you want to filter your water because you're scared of what's in the tap, then more power to you. But buying extremely expensive alkaline water or extremely expensive alkalizers, which will change the pH of your water, are simply just going to be a waste of money. So all the people that you see on TikTok measuring the pH of their water like it means anything probably do not understand how this water will interact with the digestive system, because it is quite complex. But at this point in time, it does not appear like alkaline water does anything to your blood pH. And if you drink it surrounding your meals, it could potentially cause indigestion and put you more at risk of bacterial overgrowth.